Hello there, welcome back to my channel. I was surveying my collection the other day and I realized that I have the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette, but I haven't given it much attention. Honestly, the first time I used it, I was doing a tutorial where I was it's kind of a get ready with me and I was talking a lot. And so the palette itself got very little attention. And I think part of that is because I like very colorful eyeshadow, and this palette, while it is colorful, is also a lot more neutral. But I know that this is some people's holy grail. Like, some people just love this palette. This is their go-to everyday palette, and I thought that it was unfair to not give it more attention. So for today's video, I decided to make 5 different eyeshadow looks using this palette. All of these looks are very quick and easy. You can do them in 5 to 10 minutes, and they only used a couple brushes and, you know, maybe your finger now and then. And I think they all turned out really, really pretty. I was surprised by the performance of this palette and how well it performed overall. And so if you're interested in seeing that, then don't go anywhere. If you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. My name is Rachel. I am a homeschooling stay-at-home mom who loves to play with colorful eyeshadow. I don't know much about other kinds of makeup. For me, it's all about the eyes. So if you'd like to see colorful content on your timeline, tutorials, declutters, rankings, palette collections, anything like that, I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing. You can find me on Instagram at Shimmers and Silver. And without further ado, let's get into these eye looks. So let's dive in with look number 1. I'm going to take a small to medium sized blending brush, and first I'm going to dip into the shade Crash. The whole point of these looks is that they're all going to be really quick and easy, everyday go-to sort of looks. You can do them in 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm just going to put Crash in my entire crease and blend it up towards my brow bone and into my, towards my nose as well. Looking at this color in the pan, you might think it's just a regular, light brown color, but it's actually got kind of a pink undertone to it. Now I'm going to take the same brush and dip into the shade Karma. And this I'm going to place in the outer corner. It's not really a deepening shade because it's not any deeper. It's still a medium, mid-toned matte, but it's a different it's a slightly different color. So it's just adding a kind of a different element. I've got this sort of a light pinky kind of wash, and then I've got this Karma shade, which is more of an orangey brown. And I'm just putting that in the outer corner. And then I want to take, either the shade Gold Glitch here, or the shade Frazzled, which is here. I think I'll do Frazzled. I'm going to use my finger. I'm going to go in with my finger into the shade Frazzled, which is the far bottom right corner. And I'm going to place this on the inner part of my lid, over halfway on the lid. So starting at the inner corner and then working towards this matte shades that we just laid down. It's a little bit more orange than I was expecting, because in the pan it looks a bit rosy, but I also think it's kind of a duochrome. I'm now taking a small blending brush and I'm going to dip into the shade Hot Mess. And just very lightly dip into that one. I want to deepen out this outer corner a little bit. See, just a little bit. And now with a very small pencil brush, I am going to dip into that other gold shade called Gold Glitch here. And I want to try that as an inner corner highlight color. So I've got that on my brush, and now I'm going to spray it because I do want it in a very concentrated and specific area. And that area is right here. With a small blending brush, I'm going to dip back into the shade Karma and run that on my whole lower lash line. And then into that Gold Glitch inner corner highlight color that I'm using, I'm going to also drag that down onto the lower lash line in the inner corner just to brighten up that area a bit. I think I'm maybe 5 minutes into this video and this eyeshadow look is done except for some liner. So I'm going to go off camera and add that, and then I'll show you the finished result. All right, here is the completed look number 1. I think it's quite pretty. It's just sort of a soft glam sort of thing. I did do a wing, but nothing too drastic, and I have mascara on, and that is it. So, hope you like this look, and now let's move into look number 2. For look number 2, I'm going to start with that same medium that same medium blending brush. I'm going to start off with the shade Libra right here. This is a really pretty pink matte. And I'm going to start it in the outer corner and kind of keep it in the outer corner area. I'm not bringing it in all the way to my nose. I mean, you'll see my brush moving in towards my nose, but that's just to help the color diffuse. I'm not concentrating any color specifically in towards the bridge of the nose. It's more in this area here, like that. I do really, really like this shadow right here. This one's very pretty. It's just a light, soft, rosy kind of pink. Now using that same brush, I'm dipping into the shade Vortex right here. And Vortex, you may have guessed, is going to stay in the outer corner even more. So I'm just placing it down in that very outer corner triangle area just to deepen it up a little bit. Now, because the whole point of this look is quick and easy, I'm going to take my finger into the shade Ultraviolet, which is this lovely purple matte, and I'm going to place that, similar to the last look, I'm just going to place it on my lid, starting at the inner corner and working my way out. So this is really similar to the last one as far as application and technique. It's just a matter of what color scheme you want. Like this is obviously more pink and purple, and then this is obviously more bronzy gold brown. Just because I'm curious to see how it will perform, I'm taking a flat shader or a C brush. I'm gonna dip into the shade Cosmic right up here, top left corner, and this one I'm gonna spray. This is why I wanted to see how it will perform. I'm just dipping in lightly into the shade, and I'm gonna spray my brush because I want to control fallout, but I also want to see if it applies any more metallic than it would with your finger. And Cosmic I'm gonna put on the very center of my lid on top of the purple ultraviolet color we laid down. So just in the very center, because adding that brighter shade there is going to make it pop a little more. The shimmers in this palette are not crazy wet metallics like so many other palettes I have. They're not like BH Cosmetics or Glamlight or Huda's Eye. They're not like those shimmers. They're, I guess, honestly, they seem a little more refined to me, a little bit more sophisticated and less glitzy glam in your face sort of thing, which is why this palette is so good for just an everyday, not over the top, but still elegant and classy sort of look. For the lower lash line, I'm just going to take a smudger brush and dip back into the shade Libra here. I'm going to run this on my whole lower lash line. And with that same brush, I'm going to dip back into the shade Vortex, the darkest shadow in the palette, and put that on just my outer corner area of the lower lash line. And then a small blending brush, I'm going to dip into the shade Galaxy, which is this one. I want to use this as my inner corner highlight, so I'm going to dip into the pan and then spray the brush and then place that right here. There you go. I'm going to go off camera and add black eyeliner, and I'll be back. And here's completed look number 2. It's this lovely rosy purpley sort of look, and I think it's really nice. I have to say I like both of these looks. Maybe not necessarily together, although I don't think they look terrible if I were to go out like this. They're not different enough that they would scare people away. But this is look number 2, and I think it's nice. Now let's move on to look number 3. Okay, now moving on to look number 3, I'm going to take a medium blending brush, and I'm going to first dip into the shade Utopia. This is a matte orange. I'm gonna put that, I'll put it in my entire crease, why not?
Is it Utopia or Utopia?
This is actually a surprisingly nice, like a wash transition color. It's not so orange that it's like orange. It's kind of a more of an apricot sort of shade. I think that's a better word for it. It's orangey, but it's not an unflattering orange. Like, it would look good on still a lot of skin tones, especially as a transition shade. With a large pencil brush, now I'm going to grab the shade Off Balance. And I'm going to place this in the outer corner. I'm not really putting it into the crease, just the outer corner. I think I'm going to deepen this look a little bit because the shimmer that I'm planning on using is a little bit of a darker mid-tone. It's not a really light shimmer, so I want some contrast between the mattes and the shimmer. So I'm going to take this same brush and dip back into the Hot Mess shade. And I'll just put that in the outer corner further to deepen it up a little bit more. Obviously, if you wanted to continue going deeper, you could grab the shade Vortex, which is the darkest in the palette, but I think I'll stop at this one right now because I want this look to be quick. Now I am going to take my finger and dip into the shade Supernova.
Supernova.
This is a really striking shimmer, actually. I accidentally dipped my finger, like stuck my finger into it earlier when I was pointing out a different shade, and I was like, oh, how pretty, I should use that. So now Supernova is on my fingertip, and I'm going to put it on my lid, starting in the inner corner and working out towards those mattes. This is a really beautiful and interesting shade. It's very, in the pan it looks more orange, but then on the skin, it's got a duochrome sort of rose gold aspect to it. It's very, very pretty. I think a lot of the shadows in this palette are deceptive because they look one color in the pan, but then when you put them on your eye, you're like, oh wait, there's pink in that, or oh wait, there's silver or gold, or like this one I really thought was orange, but now that I'm actually using it, it's a beautiful rose gold color. It's very pretty. I'm now going to take a small blending brush and dip back into that apricot shade Utopia, and I'll run that on my lower lash line all the way to the inner corner. I do want to brighten the inner corner a little bit more, so I'm going to take a small pencil brush and dip into the shade Supermoon. And I'm going to spray this shimmer and then place this as my inner corner highlight right here. There we go. That's a lot rosier than I expected it would be. I'm going to go off camera and add a black eyeliner and then show you the end result. Okay, here's the completed look number 3. I actually think this is very pretty. I love how it's more rose gold. It's a lot more rose gold than I was expecting it would be. Based on the shadows in the pan, I thought it might be more orangey, but I think it's really nice. And again, the shimmers are not the high metallic shine that I'm used to, but they are very nice. And they feel a little bit higher class, a little higher end, you know, a little more refined. So here's look number 3, and let's jump right into look number 4. Now for look number 4, I really want to use this Mercury shade, but I'm not quite sure how to do it. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna try something. So I'm going to take a medium blending brush that I've used for most of these looks. I'm gonna grab the color Off Balance, and I'm gonna run that through my whole crease. My skin is getting a little bit red from washing off eyeshadow looks. I just tried to do a look number 4, which I ended up hating, so that's why my eyes skin is getting a little bit annoyed with me. But that's alright, we'll get through it. Now I'm going to take a flat C brush or shader brush. I'm going to dip into that shade Mercury, which is that dark blue shimmer, and then I'm going to spray my brush. The last time I used it, I applied it with my finger, and it didn't really do anything exciting. So I'm going to take that shade and put it on the outer 2/3 of my lid. I'm going to keep the inner third clear, but I'm going to start it in the center. Oh, hello. That is really pretty. Okay, so applying it with your finger does absolutely nothing, because applying it with a brush, a wet brush, does this. And this is really, really pretty. All right, well, I'm just putting that on the whole lid, like again, like I said, the outer 2/3, kind of cutting my crease a bit. I really was not expecting it to be that pigmented because I just used it and it wasn't that pigmented. So now I've got a line that I wasn't planning on having. I'm gonna take, what am I gonna take? I'm going to take a bit of a denser, more rough blending brush. This one's pinched, and I'm gonna dip into the shade Momentum right here. This is much more peachy, my skin tone, and I'm gonna use this to just go on the edge of this shimmer to try to soften it a little bit. And yes, I know I'm sort of painting over the pink that we just laid down, but we can put more of that down. I just wanna soften this shimmer edge a bit. Now I can go back in with my first blending brush, back into the shade Off Balance, and reapply that. Now taking that same flat blending brush, I'm gonna clean it off a little bit and dip back into the shade Supermoon over here. This is what I want to really brighten up my inner corner. So I'm dipping into the pan and then I will spray the brush as I did before. And that made all the difference with the Mercury shade. So we'll see what it does for Supermoon. So here's Supermoon. I'm gonna place that on my inner corner. And I'll also use it as an inner corner highlight. And I'm just gonna blend it into that Mercury shadow. And then just to keep this look kind of fun, I'm gonna grab a, it's a denser blending brush and it's pinched as well. It's a little bit stubby. I'm gonna dip into the shade Haze, which is this Tiffany blue green shade up here. And I'm gonna wrap that on my lower lash line in the outer 2/3. This could definitely still be an everyday look, safe for the office sort of thing, but it's a little bit more interesting as far as colors. And if you put a brighter color like this on the lower lash line, then the rest of your look will not seem as nighttime smoky. It'll seem a little bit more wearable. And I definitely do want to wrap this Supermoon shade down, so I'm taking a smaller, more precise pencil brush, dipping into the shadow Supermoon, which is that white shimmer, spraying my brush, and I'm placing that on the inner corner to carry it down onto the lower lash line. Okay, that's it for shadows. I'm gonna add some black eyeliner and I'll be back. All right, here is finished look number 4. I have to say, this one, it's been hard for me to choose a favorite because all of these have been really pretty in their own way. I love the dark blue shimmer into the white shimmer into that Tiffany blue minty matte. I think it's very interesting. I think it's very pretty, kind of flattering, and I really wasn't sure how this look was gonna turn out. Like I said, I already tried it before with different color combinations. It wasn't working. I didn't know how this was gonna look, but I really like it. So this is look number 4. Okay, and now we are on to look number 5. I did use a primer for this look because I'm going to be wearing it for the rest of the day, and I want to do a halo eye for this look. However, my goal is still to keep it a very quick and easy look that you could just throw on in 10 minutes in the morning and be done. So I'm going to start with a medium blending brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Libra. I'm going to use this as a transition color. I'll put it in my crease and blend it up towards the brow bone. Now I'm going to grab a small blending brush and I'm going to dip into the shade Hot Mess. This is going to be the majority of my halo eye as far as the color on either side. So I'll start it in the inner corner and blend it to fill about 1/3 of my eye. And then I'll grab that same shade and do the outer corner. Same thing. Covering about 1/3 of the eye space. And with this, I'll also create the little cat eye shape that I like. And now with an even smaller pencil brush, I'm gonna dip into the shade Vortex. I wanna deepen these inner and outer corners, but only a little bit. And again, trying to keep the look quick. So I'm placing this in the very, very like the extreme corner. And I wanted to use a really small brush because I don't have a lot of this purple pink shadow down to begin with, so I don't want to cover it just when I'm trying to deepen it. This just adds a little bit of dimension, a little bit of dramatic look. And then with that same pencil brush, I'm going to go back into the shade Hot Mess. Yeah. I'm going to go back into the shade Hot Mess, and I'm going to drag this down on the lower lash line in the outer corner and in the inner corner, just to mimic what I did up top. So I'll put this out here, meet my outer corner area, and then over here. And now I'm going to take my flat shader brush. I'm going to dip into the shade Nebula, right up here. This is the shade that seems to stand out to people when they use the palette. This is the shade that, like, some people bought the palette just for this shadow. And I don't remember if I've used it, so here we go. Nebula is going to be the focus of my halo eye, so I've sprayed the brush after dipping into the pan, and now I'm going to place it in the very center of my lid. Yeah, that's pretty.
Can I see?
When I'm all done.
Okay.
So I'm putting this on the center of my lid, and I'm just working it towards the mattes, but I don't want to overpower the mattes. I still want them to be quite visible. I'm just gently working that shade in and around. And when I get up to my crease, I'm turning my brush so that the flat part is against the skin, so that the shadows kind of continue on and meet each other up there. That's really pretty. And when I've got that placed down, I'm gonna take the original dog hair. I'm gonna take the original small medium blending brush, go back into the shade Hot Mess, and I'm just going right over the line where the matte meets the shimmer to help blend them together a little bit more. But again, I don't want to overpower the shimmer now. I want it to still be quite present, quite obvious. And then with that same flat shader brush, I'm dipping back into Nebula, the same shade, and I'm going to spray my brush. This time I'm keeping the shadow on the edge of the brush, not the flat, but the edge. I'm going to spray my brush. And now I want to place this as a spotlight on the center of the lower lash line, which is something I've never done, but I've seen done, and I think it can be done in a really pretty way. So I'm going to place that right here so that it just echoes what's above it. You could also do this with a small a definer brush or a small pencil brush. You could do it with like an angled eyebrow brush. You could do it with a lot of things. And there you go. That's really pretty. It's really pretty, and that's it for the eyeshadow. I'm gonna go off camera, do my other eye, do the black eyeliner and mascara, and then I'll be back to show you the end result of look number 5. All right, guys, here's the finished look. I put on some black eyeliner, did a wing, some mascara, a little bit of face product. I will say in the 5th and final look, I did use an eye primer, and I put on a little bit of foundation to just clean up under my eyes a bit. So this look will look slightly better as far as the final result because I didn't do that for the other looks. But I think this is so pretty. I have had a lot of fun playing with this palette. I think each shadow in its own way surprised me. Like, it annoys me a little bit that what you see in the pan is not how it translates onto the face. And I understand that with like multi-chromes, but with just simple matte shadows, if it looks orangey in the pan, it should look orangey on the face. I don't know. I guess that might be tricky because, you know, skin has different undertones. So something might look more orange on someone with yellow undertones, and it might look more peachy on somebody with blue undertones. I'm not sure. But I was surprised by a lot of the shadows in this palette because they just ended up looking different than I expected them to look. I really enjoyed all 5 of my looks. This one might be my favorite, but it's also kind of a toss-up between number 4, where I had like the blue and then the white, and then the Tiffany blue underneath. Anyway, I think they were all really pretty. And I say again that the shimmers in this palette, they don't have the wet metallic look like all of my other palette shimmers do, they feel a step up. They feel a little more sophisticated. And so that's why I think that this is a great palette for just everyday, kind of, you can go glam, you can go smoky, you can go neutral, you can go a lot of different directions. And I think it's really good quality. I had no problems with blending. There was kick up in some of the pans, but it didn't translate onto my skin. So yeah, I think it's really pretty. I thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Please let me know in the comments below which look was your favorite. I would love to know what you think. And let me know if this is a favorite palette in your collection, if it's something that you reach for regularly, or if it just kind of gets forgotten. And if it gets forgotten, I do hope that today's video will inspire you to dive back into the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette and have a little bit more fun. Don't forget that you can find me on Instagram at Shimmers and Silver. Like and subscribe to this channel if you want more of this sort of content. And until we see each other again, have a wonderful day. Bye!